Is Apple an AI company? I don't know, man. I think it's an interesting debate, but I can tell you what I think is going on. I think Apple has stumbled into becoming an AI company. So, in the next few minutes, I'm going to talk about Apple and how I think this thing is setting up on the chart, and a conversation that I had with a friend of mine that wants to figure out, like what he can do with Apple. So let's talk about it. So first of all, we all know Apple, right? I mean, probably one of the best stocks of all time. I think Nvidia has now surpassed it a bit, but Apple has been doing the right things for a very, very long time. In fact, they're the ones that created this little guy right here. So, if we want to be a part of this ecosystem and invest in it, we can. But there's a time and a place, and I got to tell you, Apple has not been a very exciting stock for a while. I think in management, they've got a CFO leading the company, which is great, very steady, but a financial guy, not Steve Jobs, which is an innovation guy. That gave us all the excitement that we have today. But I think the company is still doing well. A few of their products have failed, but you know what? They have this little advertising or subscription model, I should say, that just builds time and time again. Like every month, I get a bill for 99 cents or $6.99 for this or insurance for that, and I buy their products, everything but the PC, the computer. I can't use their computer for some reason, but every other product I really like, and they're very well made, and I'm glad I have them. However, one piece of their whole system has been crappy from the very beginning, and it's Siri. And Siri, I don't know if you use iPhones, but if you talk to Siri, like you get no answers half the time. Like sometimes it says, "Here's what I found on the web." Well, like I want you to tell me what I found on the web. I'm working out. I don't want to stop and go to the web. Like I don't need you for that. And so they've never really established a stronghold in AI because AI, really, most of us were kind of exposed to it with Alexa or Siri even before that. And most of us think, well, it's not that great. It was cool in the beginning, but it's not that great. Like they should be leaps and bounds ahead of everybody with AI because of Siri, but they blew it. And they continued in the last couple of years to blow it. And so what they've done is they said, well, we've got a lot of cash, but we're not going to spend our cash. And I think this is where it was smart. We're not going to spend our cash on AI. We'll let everybody else spend their cash on AI. So you see it. Microsoft, Amazon, Google, of course, Nvidia. A lot of these companies are spending huge amounts of money on AI. And I'm not really sure that's a smart investment. I think if I remember back, now I'm dating myself, but if I remember back to when the dot-com bubble was going on, everybody was laying down infrastructure, right? They were laying down big pipes and fiber optic cables. There was a company called Global Crossing that was putting these cables underneath the ocean, and they were spending huge amount of money because the internet was going to be so big. And guess what? The internet was big, but those companies are no longer around to take advantage of it. They spent so much money on infrastructure, but they didn't get the money back. Now, this is a long thesis on AI, and I don't want to kill you with it. I want to show you some charts in just a second. But these companies are spending $600 something billion a year to lay this infrastructure, right? To build these huge data centers. They're going to need power, and that's scarce right now. They're going to need chips. And well, the chips are scarce too, but the power is even more scarce. You can have the chips, but then you don't have the power to run them. So now you have these aging chips. So I think there's something going on in the AI business, and I'm really into AI right now. You probably see it on my channel. I'm experimenting with a lot of really cool things and in trading as well. So, but the last thing I'll say about how they stumbled into it is they let everybody else kind of take the arrows, but they still didn't get a strong foothold until about 6 weeks ago. And 6 weeks ago, this product came out called OpenClaw. It's an open source product written by a guy named Peter Steenberger, I think it is, German dude. And he came out with this thing that you click and it installs on your PC. And now you can ask it to be your agent. You say, hey, OpenClaw, you're my agent. Usually name it something else, but I call mine Jerry after Jerry Seinfeld. But anyway, I go, hey, Jerry, go out and, create a website for me. And the thing will go off like it's your agent and create a website for you. Now, there's some security issues with it. There's a lot of technology issues with it. But I'll tell you, if you get your hands on it, it's amazingly powerful. And there's this dude named Alex Finn who embraced the technology right away and said, look, you can either run it on a virtual server on the cloud, or you can run it at your house. And he said, go buy these Mac Minis. And the Mac Minis are basically like 6 inches by 6 inches. They're little PCs that cost about $600, and you put them, you put this OpenClaw thing on there, and it runs 24/7 on your local PC, and that's incredibly powerful. So what happened? Like 250,000 people have been installing OpenClaw, and a lot of them have run out and bought these little Mac Minis. And they're flying off the shelves. And now that they're flying off the shelves, what else is flying off the shelves? Well, Mac Studios, which are like $9,000 or $10,000, the big Mac, no pun intended, big Mac Daddy computers that are really made for editing and music and studio and video and all that kind of stuff. So these expensive computers are now able to run this. And so Apple all of a sudden is benefiting from this huge run on their hardware. So they're benefiting from AI without having to spend a dime. So brilliant, pretty brilliant. I don't know if they got lucky or they engineered that, but I'll give the guy credit, Tim Cook, because he's a financial guy. And maybe he thought of this, and maybe that's his gig. Anyway, let's take a look at what's going on today. Today we had a Fed meeting. The Fed came out and said, we're not going to do anything. We're not raising rates. We're not cutting rates, whatever. The markets have been kind of selling off over the last month. Let's take a look at this chart. This is the chart of the Dow Jones Industrial. So you could see this chart has been selling off for the last month, right? I mean, it's just been going down and down. And today it's at a new low, almost to the low that it was at back in November, right? Back in November when this whole green market started. So this is where the green market, I don't know if you watch me, but I told everybody that the green market was starting right about there. I wasn't exactly at the bottom. I don't ever catch the bottom to the tops, but I get the trends right. And so this market bottomed at, I think that says 45,720 something. And that's exactly where it's going, in my opinion, right? So it's only, a little bit away from that, but I think it's going back there. And so this market has been selling off today, but the volume hasn't been huge. Like I thought on a day where we would have Fed announcements and minutes and, whatever, we would have a lot of volatility and volume, and we don't. And so that's a promising sign. I still think that there's a little bit left for this to go get tested down here at the 45,720 level. But what does that have to do with Apple? Well, a friend of mine asked me about this guy right here. And so I was telling him about, my thesis on Apple, just like I just told you. And let's look at the weekly on Apple. Weekly on Apple is right here. And you can see that it's basically, gone up, lower left to upper right, but really it's not killing it. It's going in the right direction, right? But when you zoom in a little bit, right, just recently, you can see that right in here over the last, couple of weeks, 3-4 weeks, it's in a downtrend. Now, it's not in a severe downtrend, but it is in a little short-term downtrend. So, but the stock is kind of not getting killed, right? And so when a stock is not getting killed, when the rest of the market is getting killed, yes, it's in the same trend, for sure. It's gone down in the last month, for sure, right? Let's go back to this, and you can see that, right? I mean, it's not hard to see. However, it's got a 70 relative strength, which is not awesome, I will admit. Here's what I'm saying. Put it on a watch list. This is what I told my friend. I said, put it on a watch list. All you got to do is watch it, right? I'm not saying invest in it. I'm not saying it's going to go up, and I'm not saying it's going to go down. But if they've timed this AI thing right, I think there might be an opportunity. This is what I told him today. And so he asked me what covered calls that he would do. And I said, look, I can't give you an investment advice, but I can certainly look at the covered calls that are out there. And we could say, all right, this hypothetical stock, because, of course, this is in the past. This is not going on now. But this hypothetical stock that's out there right now is at 250. And you can go out 30 days, I told my friend. And I said, you can go out 30 days and you could look at these 255s and just keep them on the watch list. Just take a look at them. I'm not saying do anything with them, but you could sell them for that much juice, right? And the juice is the amount of income. Now, if he wanted to take advantage of the upside of this, he would sell slightly out of the money. That's $5 above the money, right? And you could still get that per share, right? Over, 30 days. So you multiply that by the number of shares that he has. If he has 1,000 shares, that number, right, times 1,000 is what his income is every month. And he's got the difference here of a couple of points to be able to make upside potential. Okay, so I can't tell you exactly what I told him, but that's kind of the way covered calls work. You buy a stock, you sell a call against it. When you sell the call, you give somebody else the right to take your stock or to buy it from you at a certain predetermined price. That's called the strike price. That's over here. Okay, so that's the strike price. So that's your deal. It's a contract. It's a contract between two people. Well, it's like a house, right? If you have a house and you spend $300,000 on it and you buy it because you want to rent it out, you're not worried about the house going up and down in value all the time, right? You'd like it to go up, of course. But you really care about the $3,000 a month that's coming in from the tenant. So you want to make sure that the tenant keeps paying you the rent. And that's the same thing that we can do, or people can do, or my friend can do in the stock market. You buy an asset, could be GM or Ford, or it could be Nvidia, it could be Amazon, it could be whatever, right? You buy an asset, just like a real estate asset, right? And then you sell somebody else the ability to take that away from you. Now that rarely happens if you do this right. Like you roll your calls at the appropriate time and you play defense at the appropriate time and you do your trade adjustments. But that's essentially what happens is you're using the asset to generate income. Juice is what I call it. And so that's the deal. So pretty simple. Listen, if you want to go a little deeper, I am going to be yapping a little bit more on Monday night at 7 o'clock p.m. On Eastern time. And I have a little live event that I'm going to be doing right here on YouTube. So if you want to join me, just join me here. Mark it in your calendar that we're doing a live event 7 p.m. on Monday night. Coming up here, what's Monday night today? Like the 23rd, something like that. And we're just going to be talking about how to navigate these markets because, if your account is down right now, there are things that you could or should be doing to make sure that you're not losing money. You want to have some dry powder for when the market does go back up. That's why I'm making a video. Even though the market's red right now, I'm still making a video to say, hey, look, get your watch list ready. Even if you don't want to invest now, that's fine. But have this on your list so that when the market does turn, you're ready to rock and roll. So Monday night, 7 o'clock, I hope you join me there. Last thing I'll say, quick announcement, I have an event. If you want to do more of this stuff, you want to build out your trading plan, and everybody should have a trading plan, you should too, and learn how to make income from the stock market. I'm having an event out in Phoenix, Arizona, just outside, called Chandler, in Arizona on the 17th through the 19th of April, 2026, I should say. And it's called the Wealth Accelerator Live Strategy Event. It's a very intimate, small group of people. Not that they're small people, but they're going to be a small group of people. We're going to get together and we're going to talk strategies, the stocks for the rest of the year, how we would play them, how to deal with this crazy market, because if it keeps going down because bombs are going to go off or, gold is doing its thing or whatever it is, we're going to try to figure all that stuff out. Love to have you there. There's a few seats left. There's a few rooms left. So now's your chance to get in on it. But I'm not going to keep it open forever. I mean, my last event was like 100 something people. Some events I have are 200 or 300 people. I want to keep this one pretty small because I want to go really deep. And I think that's pretty important in this crazy market. So both links are at the bottom. I think maybe the live link. Just join me Monday night if there's no link in the bottom, and there may not be. But I'd love to have you there. I'd love to have you at both of them. And thanks for sitting all the way through this video. Hope you learned something. I'm just trying to show you how I look at things from a fundamental perspective as well as a technical perspective. And then what I do is I wrap covered calls around it and collect some income and juice. So hopefully that was helpful. I'll see you on the next video. Bye. The information you just heard is for education and information. This is not financial advice.